world wants to know, what is J Strickland up to in 2023?
Just the same shit I was doing, you know? Like, I still love watching skating on like the internet and shit like that. And then, you know, me and a lot of my old friends still skate. Some people retire, but there's definitely, I guess it's like once you're a skater, you're always a skater, you know?
So what are you doing here in San Diego with this art show?
Me and my buddies I grew up with, some of them skaters, some of them are like my graffiti family. You know, shout out to our buddy Milo and Porvita. Like they have the spot, my buddy Brisk, and they're like, hey, let's do a little show. So I just started to come down, and plus I print my 99 Colt stuff, like boards and t-shirts and shit down here. You know, this is my stuff. This is my buddy Carlos Shucks, Tommy Dise, he's also from LA. He's like a graffiti friend. Chams, Amigo. And this is my buddy Kevin's artwork. And this is Ryan Hassel. This is probably, out of my crew and my friends I know, he's probably one of the most advanced like artists. And this is Rashad, a skater kid, grew up in El Cajon. And this is my buddy James Brisk, an old school skater my age from San Diego.
So is 1999 Cult your brand and kind of like the umbrella where all your creative projects are coming out of?
Yeah, I like trying to focus more on that now. It started like years ago, probably like 5 or 6 years ago. A lot of people are telling me how like, you know, the digitapes are like, oh, that's gonna, you know, they break apart. You better digitize them because they just are gonna disintegrate. So I went on a little winter mission of just like, oh, I got a couple drives and started just digitizing all my old skate footage. A lot of my footage was like pieced out, TransWorld videos, you know, a couple tricks here, a couple tricks there, 401s on videos. You know, it's not a brand, it's just like, oh, it's my archive. You go on the Instagram, it's kind of like they're numbered. Sometimes it's like a little mini edit. Sometimes it's just like one trick. And then lately I put out a few, it's like a Grex versus Wilshire. So it's just like all of Greco's footage that I filmed at Wilshire. Then I did one of Brian Sumner, like all his footage in America. Then doing one of Heath versus UCI, you know, because it's kind of the thing I just do on my free time. When I do have free time, like I try to, you know, work on stuff with myself. I want to make edits or like, and plus, you know, like archiving tons of material in itself can be a fucking full-time job for the most part. So I just try to do a little bit at a time, do little projects here and there. The 99 Colt, it's not about 1999, it's just like the era. It's like the pre-9/11 skateboarding, then post-9/11. You know, it's like kind of, you know, everything kind of changed. I've realized with the internet and like Instagram and stuff, and I used to kind of ignore it, but a lot of people reach out, they're like older now, like, hey man, you know, your videos, or what's up with this skate graphic, I remember this and stuff. It's kind of like the nostalgia thing.
So this character animal is pretty synonymous with your art and Baker, really. Why is it still so central in like the art that you make?
So yeah, as far as the elephant character goes, it's just kind of been like a staple thing. When I was young, like a teenager, started getting into graffiti. You know, I always loved like all the old like skate graphics, like especially like the Santa Cruz stuff and like Powell. It was like a little character, did it. It's like kind of had some incarnations and shit. Getting more into skateboarding and filming, I was gonna do my own stuff, you know, just as a filmer, the Baker Bootleg video. So I just like doodled it and then like, oh, this is cool. And then it just kind of like developed, the videos are successful. Then when we started Baker, the skateboard company, you know, it was just kind of like a natural thing to use that as a logo. Like it was just gonna be a logo board. For Andrew Reynolds, is like one of his first Baker boards. Just as years went on, I still painted the elephant, but then as you can see, like this is more current of my work. The characters like kind of like develop, and then adding into trying to do backgrounds and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like a real staple that represents, you know, like my art across the board, from like the graffiti to the contributions to like skateboarding stuff.
I totally forgot the story of Heath's footage for Sight Unseen.
Oh, the fucking ransom story and shit? You want a condensed version of that?
Yeah, sure.
I filmed, you know, I think it was like about 2 years of Heath. You know, and at that time I wasn't a team manager anymore. I was just kind of like focusing on making my independent video chops or whatever. And I was consistently filming Heath. And then it came time to like, they're like, okay, we need all the footage, you know? And I was like, all right, cool. And I think it was Swift maybe. I was like, yeah, man, we need to get that footage. And what had happened is like, I just gave up all this Andrew Reynolds footage to them. It was like the kickflip in Paris. It was like basically a part almost, you know, it was like half of a whole part. And then I just got a random check for like $500 or $600 for all that. And I was like, wait a minute, you know, like the fool got like this much money just for the photo for the ad. You know, I'm kind of on my own independently. So when it came time, I literally in my head, I was like, okay, like 2 years of like this, you know, like, and it was just like, all right, $10,000, that's like a fair amount. And I think, you know, I think any filmer would agree now that that's like a fair amount of money for 2 years, or especially of Heath, you know. And at the time I was more of a dickhead, so I was like, man, I don't care, I'll throw Heath's footage in the river. You know, and because I was struggling, like Heath called me and it was like, I was like, oh man, I was like, I really wouldn't throw his shit in the river. Like, come on. Like if Heath was like, look, man, please just like give it to him, of course I would have. And then we worked it out and I expensed them. So then, you know, and then it kind of went, I think even the team was like, oh, Jay, you're being a dick, you know? And I was just like, no, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just kind of being not professional, but like, hey, this is worth it. And hopefully that set a standard for people to, you know, I kind of think you have to like stick up for yourself when you're your own artist sometimes. And plus at the time, I mean, that era of the TransWorld videos too is like, that shit is like historical, like records of like skateboarding, you know?
What kind of behind the scenes can you tell us, or stories about filming Heath at UCI?
You know, when people have a certain vision, you know what I'm saying, and like a certain work ethic is like, I would say Heath as a skater is like that. Like obviously now his like legendary status, and a lot of people I don't think get that because he wasn't the dude like, yeah bro, let's go out Saturday, jump with 20 fools in the van and just look for spots. It was very like a precise, you know, I said I wasn't the best filmer at the time, but it was like, I would show up at 6 in the morning. You know, I'm there at midnight, like he's like fucking smashing through a gate to get an Oceanside High and like, let's put a flag up and let's do all this shit. And it's like, I mean, he was like more of a visionary, I guess you could say. And it always got me hyped. Like once I kind of figured out what was going on, I was like, oh wow, like this dude is one of the gnarliest skaters, because one of the first skate tricks I ever filmed was with Dave Swift's camera. And it was like Heath doing the kickflip back lip at Bricktown. But yeah, if like you want to check out any further stuff from me or my friends, you know, it's like on Instagram, 1999 Cole, and then also the website. That's like where the merch is available. You know, and as far as the future, gonna make some more like edits, you know, because I got like tons of footage, and then we're gonna move into like the post 9/11 era of like the years I lived on the East Coast, which should be cool too.
What the fuck?